What is up, everybody? What is up? It is Davin Wickstrom here with Vivro and Foodservice Unfiltered. Happy New Year. Super pumped. First podcast of the year. And my guest who we'll get to, I'm super excited. So apropos, we're going to have him. Before we get started, at first, I just wanted to give a huge thanks to Vivro again for allowing me this crazy, amazing idea to do a podcast through them. Appreciate the space and place to serve. So thank you for that. I hope everyone is off to a good start to the year. So this podcast, as I mentioned last year, I'm going to mention it again. This is designed to really find out the why of people in our industry. And the wonderful thing is I'm afforded to find people that I find super interesting that I want to get to know better, or I know really well, and I want you to get to know them better. Um, so I'm super excited for our guest today, and we don't have a roadmap, which is kind of doing it without a safety net, which I absolutely love. I'm going to bring him on, and I'm going to keep talking. So his birth name is Anthony Salazar. Everyone knows him as Sal. And Sal and I met through SHFM, and we've always been in, I would say, different circles or different silos. And throughout the years, I've always seen him from afar, admired the work, and people that I know in the industry, I check in. I'm like, what's up with this guy, Sal? Like, what's the story on him? And like, oh my gosh, the dude is amazing. Dude is great. You got to get to know him. So just recently, Sal and I got to talking, and I was like, yep, I see what the hype is all about. I can absolutely understand that. So, my first guest, 2026, Anthony Salazar. Sal, how are you, bud?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all the kind words.
Yeah, you bet. Before we get started, um, and I know they can go on your LinkedIn profile, tell people what you do. What is your current job right now? And we'll get to who you are and why you do what you do. But what do you do for work right now?
Right now, I'm a sustainability specialist for Guckenheimer. I've been with Guckenheimer for about 7 years, and I've held 3 different high-level roles. Most currently, the sustainability specialist role that I've been in for a little over a year and a half. Um, I track food waste. I tag a bunch of data. I talk about plastic reductions and how we can be better in that space. But I'm a food educator and hospitality optimizer. Like first and foremost, I'm wired for it. So I work with a lot of teams on various sustainability type topics. So
I love that. Were you born sustainably minded, or did you come into that?
I mean, that's a great question. Give a big shout out to my mom. She was a single mom. I have 2 younger sisters, and we had help with like some government subsidies, and we were on a lot of government programs growing up. She was a single working mom for a good chunk of our childhood, and so uh, we didn't know when our meals were where they were coming from. Food insecurity was that was a big part of my childhood growing up, and so I just learned at a young age to appreciate what you have and utilize the whole ingredient, if you will, or use it all from start to finish. And I think that that's just been wired inside of me since my early days. And as I have come up through culinary, I am a CIA graduate, 2009. So I've worked in some prestigious restaurants around the United States. I've had some opportunities to travel and cook abroad. But my chef career has catapulted me into food sustainability. But having that lens of, total utilization has helped me, get to where I am now, and it's like, hey, we don't have to throw that away, or, hey, have you tried this? Or what do you think about this secondary option for this scrap and things like that. It's much more than, eat your leftovers. While it is that, and it can be that, it's much more than that.
It's fascinating, Sal, to hear, growing up on government cheese, if you will,
Yeah.
and the scarcity of food, and your mom's hustling and doing what she can to provide, and then taking that, um, and really, like, what I'm hearing is turning it into a positive in your chef world or sustainability world, not thinking in scarcity, but rather, like, how can we make the most out of, like, what we have? Am I hearing that right? Like, how that kind of
Yeah.
directed you? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, make the most of what you have. And I'd be remiss if I said, you know, my mom still does great things, and my sisters, they still do great things. They are still living on that government cheese, so to speak, to this day. So, they were affected by the SNAP benefits, that were paused last year, at
Yeah.
the end of last year. So like that's that's still part of me. I called them and I was like, hey, how can I help? And we work something out. So
That's great. And also sounding like remembering where you came from, which absolutely helps guide for you. I'm hearing, Sal, like your decisions day to day, whether it's your current family and your place of work.
yeah, yeah, that's most true, man. It's we were just kind of talking a little bit before this, and I feel like it was yesterday, but I've accomplished so much, and I've been through so much, and it's it wasn't yesterday, uh,
Right.
but I'm happy to be where I'm at now, and happy to educate and work shoulder to shoulder with those that are willing to put in the work.
I love it. I'm gonna totally throw a curveball to you, Sal, because you did last time we talked, and it set me back in a good way. I'm gonna start with this, and you use this a lot, so I'm using something you use a lot. FYI, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Uh, right now, in this very moment, my son brings me joy, and my
Oh,
partner. Those, like, love is such a constant, man. I love them with all of me, and I'm blessed to have two boys. One is 16 and one is 8, and um, they I love talking with them. Like you're a kid running home from school to watch your favorite cartoon. Like I am running home to play catch, or I'm trying to do things and not miss those windows, because they're small windows. He's my youngest just turned 8 on the January 13th, and if you have kids, and nothing feels like time accelerates faster than watching them grow up. It's like you blink and they're driving, you blink and they're getting married, and like that for me, I'm just trying to stay present. So like that brings me joy, right now.
it's beautiful, Sal. Yeah, I heard a quote, which it always makes me sad with my son, that by the time your kids are 12 years old, you've spent 75% of the time you're going to spend with them, because at that point it's then college
Oh
off the
man.
edge. I know.
Oh man.
So, but it goes back to what you're saying, dude. Like being present, like running home, like those times are like, man, like you blink and it is changing and it's off.
My son Xavier has, I think, I'm a big firm believer. Like he's a strong-willed kid, and if you have been around, like even some strong-willed adults, um, they want to make the decisions, they want to lead, and he has joined me in the kitchen. I do like to cook still at home. Like that is very part of my ethos, and so he gets in there. We made a lot of holiday cookies together. I taught him how to make pancakes from scratch. He's really taken, a liking to being in that space with me, and I know he appreciates it through like nonverbal communication. But when I tell him, I'm like, I love having you in here, he's like, yeah, cool, thanks, Dad. You know, but it means a lot. Trust me, man. When I say it means a lot, that he likes to. We have him. We have a little cut glove for him, so he uses a real knife. Um, he has like his own little gear. So like that's special to me.
I'm laughing because my son Nate's the same way. I could pour my heart out, and he's like, "Cool, thanks." Yet I believe, like when they turn 25, they're going to be like, "Dad, oh my God, my some of my best memories were in the kitchen with you," and they're not going to share it until then. But like, keep doing more of that, Sal. That's good stuff. Yeah, amazing. You guys can share that together and have that for sure. Um,
Mm.
Before we got on, we were talking, and I thought it was really interesting, especially now that you even shared kind of your story. We were talking a little bit about mindset, um, and I think it's really fitting applying that. Can you talk more about that? And you can relate it to, kind of your life story up to this point. It could be work, anything related, but like how you view mindset and what you do to really keep I guess yourself towards your North Star.
Yeah. It's funny, going back to my summer reading this book about, the stars and Polaris, the North Star.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest gifts we have in our life is how we respond to things.
Yeah.
We have, that is something we have control over. If, you stub your toe, you're probably going to curse, but then that's okay. But
Yeah.
if these things, happen with you and you respond, and how you respond, you rewire your brain a little bit. And so, without getting into the nitty gritty, and yes, I used to tell people all the time, they're like, oh my gosh, what happened, or this or that. And I would say, you'll read about it in the book, and
Right.
um, I have rewired my brain to really think about the best possible outcome. I say a lot of things like, what could go right instead of what could
Ah,
go wrong. The best that can happen instead of what's the worst that can happen. And for the past 3 days, I've been saying, this isn't happening to me; it's happening for me. And I they might be all silly, idioms or phrases, if you will, but they work. And when you say things like "I am too blessed to be stressed," it doesn't devoid you from feeling stress or suppress those emotions. You know, it just helps you deal with them through a better lens than, you know, maybe you would have in the past, or, maybe you have done in, recent memory. So like that's kind of my ethos of dealing with and having this positive mindset of what's the best possible outcome. And I say these things, I write them down, daily affirmations, like those are important to me. And so
I love that song. So you're not saying life doesn't happen and you get angry and sad and all of those things. It's I'm hearing it's like, what do I do with that information? Or like, what do I do with that information going in? Like, am I a victim or am I the hero of this story?
yeah, well, I manage a lot of food waste and, plastic data these days. I have managed large teams, and when I was managing large teams, I would say this often, during, group sessions, like all emotions are welcome. If
Ooh,
it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad. Like you don't have to, fake it till you make it. Like all emotions are welcome. And I still live by that. Like all emotions are welcome. And it, you got to believe that to really get the best out of people and the best out of yourself. And so I have experienced all of the emotions this week. I've said, when people are like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "All of the feels, for sure. I have all of the feels."
I mean, Sal, that's amazing. Well, like, I mean, go back a little bit. It's like when I just wrote it down. Like all emotions are welcome. Like being super inclusive and like creating space. Like come as you are into whatever's going on. Like I believe that that creates more cohesive team or interaction with people. When you're like, no, it's okay. Like be you. Bring your version of yourself. And I meant tip of the cap too, dude. Like before we got on, you said the same thing. I got all the feels this week. Like
Yeah.
that's
and
important to call that stuff out.
and I got this sticker right here. I'll just read it out loud. It says, "All cultures, beliefs, colors, sizes, ages, identities, welcome." Like you
Love that.
really have to believe. You have to show that. You can't just say it. Like there's a lot of saying these days. You know, I would take a "well done" before "well said." I want to less doer or more doers, less talkers.
Right. Don't tell me what you're gonna do. Show me while you're
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's a good segue. Like the work you're doing at SHFM, like you want to talk a little bit about that and the work you're doing around just being inclusive and for people that don't know, that's our one of our networking groups, Society for Hospitality and Food Service Management. But you want to talk about that a little bit, Sal?
Yeah, I've done some awesome things in SHFM in a short period of time, and I'm trying um, to sustain that success and uh, you know ignite that passion in others. And I mean, I was pretty quiet my first year when I was selected as a rising star, and I've been very vocal about it. Like I walked the first national conference I attended, like, I don't know if this place is for me. I will be,
Awesome.
I've been very transparent about that. Like um, but I started talking. And more importantly, I started listening. I started listening twice as much as I was talking in that, especially that first like year and a half involved with SHFM. And you really get to understand the industry as a whole a little bit better. Um, there's so many lines of business like I don't know anything about. Like might not seem like it, but I'm about to hit my 20 years in hospitality,
Nice.
and there's still so much I can't wait to learn. Um, and so I'm in my third year as a rising star, which has been fantastic. That cohort is absolutely unbelievable. And the people that have come and gone in that space. And uh, one thing for sure when I got into SHFM that I gravitated towards was the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Belonging Council that is a committee within the organization. And like that's a safe space for me. I did grow up a little bit on the more minority side in my hometown and my space, and most certainly the neighborhoods I grew up in. And so, like, I have always gravitated towards people of color, and
Yep.
that's just how it's been for my whole life. And not saying that that's not inclusive, that DEIB isn't inclusive of all people, which it is, but there's certain people that gravitate towards it more than others. And listening to them and hearing what they had to say and how they want to make hospitality um, better in that space, it's funny. Like hospitality is built on immigration. Like it is, it, it if you know anything about the genesis of hospitality, like it's built on immigration. And um, watching it evolve into what it has become of like the best industry, I think, in the world. Like I think the hospitality and food service business and industry is my special place, man. Like that's where I belong, and I'm happy to be here. And digressing back to DEI and B,
Yep.
I just started to listen more about that, and I was honored to be the co-chair with Courtney last year, and we did some great things. And I think DEI and B right now is under a lot of fire. So it's for me, it's like I want to say it more.
Yep.
I want to know what part of DEI and B like makes you uncomfortable. Like that to me is like I don't want to hush. I don't want to be quiet. Like I want to say it out loud, and it's like why? Why does it rattle your cages? So like that to me shows that there is positive change happening. It might be moving a little slow for some, but remember, slow growth builds character, and fast growth promotes ego, as we see so prevalent in our society today. But now I sit as the chair for DEI and B with a co-chair who's phenomenal, and I wish I could hang out with all the time. Trudy, I like her. I love her stories. I love the expertise she brings into the space. And so for me, it's we talk a lot about how we can continue to make SHFM more diverse, and it's not at like pushing people out or anything like that. It's inviting everyone in. It's continuing to say like, hey, we're growing, and we know that. Um, stay a while, and listen. And so for us, like, that's kind of our goal for this year. And SHFM has been a pleasant surprise, for me from when I first started to where I'm at now. And um, I'm very grateful for it.
That's amazing, Sal. And I'm hearing too that like you just want to have this big table. Like everyone's welcome to sit at the table. Like you want to create that a sounding board or that space where people can emote or show their skills or communicate or be seen. Like I'm hearing that. Like that's what I'm pulling out from what you're saying. Like not only is it an origin story, but it's also part of your passion too.
Yeah, and there there's so many individuals that they explode when you give them confidence, when you
Yeah.
inspire them to be, better than they were yesterday, or you give them a platform. Like that's where the real change like happens. Like that's where the cool stuff happens. And like that's, what my hope and outcome is, for, my year as the DIB chair. It's like I hope that, you know, the changes we make, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but I'm trying to inspire people to say like, you know, this brings me joy, this makes me happy, and because of this, I'm bringing everybody with me. And I think better together is, a great place to start. If there's so much crazy in the world, you know like let's look back at ground level and say, better together. That much has been true. you know so let's be better together.
Hey man, I love that, Sal. And it's parties are so much more fun when there's a lot of people. Like a party of two or three is fine, but give me 150 of our closest friends. Like my gosh, yeah, sign me up for that. Um, that's amazing, Sal. Well, keep doing that. Just keep leaning in. People are saying that. I see it. I think it's fantastic, Sal. So I don't need you to. I know you don't need me to tell you to be you, but keep being you. So I'm still gonna
Thank
say
you.
it anyway. Yeah, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to there's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
We'll just leave it at that. And um I would rather be celebrated for being genuine than being applauded for, you know, conforming or being the same, as everyone else. And I think that there's a lot of that. And I talk about self preservation a lot. And
Yep.
like, it's okay. Again, all emotions are welcome. It's okay to be scared, you know, uh, but be brave, you know, have courage, you know, don't stop doing what got you the job. And
And, and
so,
and that
yeah,
sounds like mindset. Like it goes back to that mindset you said. Like just continue. Like yeah, and like you just keep like this is happening. I have these emotions, and like it's that mindset of like how can I use it to my benefit? How can I learn? How can I help others? How can I move forward?
yeah. I think there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. And
Yeah.
I think everybody's pushing for that American dream, and everybody has a different view of what that is these days. But I'm going to go out on a limb uh, here. And like my last name is Salazar. It is, it is a Spanish last name. My grandfather immigrated here from Mexico. Moved to Fort Madison, Iowa, and then joined the United States Air Force, and where he was a Air Force veteran of close to 30 years, working on airplanes in Vietnam and overseas a bunch. But no one understands and appreciates the American dream of hard work leading to material rewards, better than like a non-American. And so, for those of you who are listening, or have contact with a lot of that, like, keep inspiring, keep pushing, and keep supporting. The industry needs it. It's trust me, you're going to make somebody's day, and you're going to be happy you did.
Yeah, amazing. Well put, Sal. That brings up too, like it could be mentorship, or I see you. Like yeah, when you see the humanity in everybody, it really, like, only good things are going to come from that. Like if your source is love, joy is going to be the after effect, positivity. Life can still happen, but like, as you were talking earlier, like your groundwork is set, your mindset is good, so everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
I love it. Give it to me.
What's what's your favorite food? Like, you're a chocolate person, you love blueberries, and I want this maybe expand to like maybe one or three items, because people always, it's so hard to think what my favorite singular piece of
Yeah.
food is. But like, give me a couple.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, great question, Sal. So, being from the Midwest, although I spent 20 years on the West Coast, I love cheeseburgers. Like if you're to like comfort food, go back there. It is a cheeseburger, medium. I used to be medium well, but I actually grew up, so medium is actually a better cook. You know, you don't have to burn it. My father used to burn everything. But a cheeseburger for me, and I have so many memories as a child with my family, summers in Indiana where I was born, and now here in Illinois. Of some of my best memories with my mom and dad and my siblings were my dad cooking cheeseburgers on the back grill in the backyard. So like, yeah, that's my happy food. I go there. Um, I would probably, much like Wimpy from Popeye, I would eat a cheeseburger every single day, given my druthers. Um, Gosh, you know,
We had burgers
I
last night, right, for dinner.
did you?
Just, oh yeah, we do cast iron, smash style burgers. Like, I got, we got it
Love
down, and
that.
yeah.
That's fantastic. I would also say my dad used to if my sister is listening, she's gonna be laughing. My dad used to make chili during Bears games when we were kids. We still don't know what he put into it. Like, we have no idea, but it always tasted good. So you can see a theme here because it's cold all the time. It's like negative whatever outside. Chili too, like homemade chili that you make and you cook all day, and open house and friends coming over. I can remember my dad making that in the house, smelling amazing. And when I was in high school and college, eating 5, 6, it was a contest of how many bowls of chili I could eat in one sitting. Now it's about a half a bowl, but um, yeah, those are two that absolutely come to mind. And you're bringing up something interesting, Sal. Like, as we talk about food and you being a chef, like, food is like emotional anchor to like memory. Like, I just talked about food, but it was my emotional anchor to memories as a child. Like,
You gave us
I'm
the
sure that's
ratatouille. You gave us the ratatouille treatment right now. Like the movie Ratatouille. You went back into the archive, and I saw young Davin come out right there, and
yeah,
it was that was awesome.
that's amazing. Thank you for seeing that. And I'm sure there's so many other people that experience that too. If you're like, what's your favorite meal? It's like, no, it's not the action of eating it or the taste, or it may be the taste, but it's like how I felt when I was with a loved one or a close friend or my partner, you name it, or my child. Like, it's amazing. Good question.
I'm a food dude, man. It has been a love language of mine, for for many years, and um, yeah, it's fun. I could talk about food and all day, this or that, or how do you make this, or um, I was talking about crab cakes a couple weeks ago to
Yep.
someone who lived on the East Coast, and I was like, what are the key essential ingredients to crab cakes? And I mean, sure, I can chat GPT that up, I can Google it all day long, but when you are in it and in a culture, there's a little something, there's a little pizzazz here that
Yep.
makes it what it is. And so, like you mentioned in your dad's chili, and maybe it was Malort.
It could have been.
Maybe it was Julia Child, a little splash for the chili, a little splash for me.
Yeah. Even how I did in college, it probably was Malort. C's get degrees, so like I think my mom cried when I graduated because it only took 6 years, so it might have been Malort. Yeah. Um, so you led me to something, Sal. If I'm coming over to your house and we're hanging out, like, what's your go-to meal? Like, what are you gonna cook if you're hosting and we're hanging out?
Oh man, that's awesome. That's a great question. Who This past weekend I had a little retreat with some of my guy friends, and
Yep.
we kind of take turns, making meals. And I had the meal on Friday night, um, and I made ramen and dumplings, and uh, I would probably do something similar, maybe not ramen, but like some sort of dim sum. And I use dim sum as like a multi-purpose, like something you want to eat with like your hands, whether it's
Oh,
uh, like some tacos, or some lettuce wraps, or some dumplings, like for me, I think that kind of primitive, like eating with your hands, and talking, and that to me is like, that's so fulfilling, that's so cup filling, if you will. um, so I would probably do dumplings of some sort.
sign me up. I'll bring my sweatpants. I'll put on an eating show. Like, let's get after it. It sounds amazing. I'm in.
Yeah, are they Chicago Bears sweatpants?
Of course they are. And Cubs, not White Sox. Cubs, Bears, Blackhawks, Bulls. Yep, all day. Bears. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
That,
I'm glad you have that sports culture to lean into.
we do. Like some of my earliest well, I remember the day my grandpa and my dad took first game at Wrigley, and I just remember walking up the steps. And if you've ever been to Wrigley, you know what I'm talking about. When you see that cathedral, our Red Sox fans or Yankee fans could say the same thing. The first time walking in, it was like, oh my gosh, there is a God. Like,
I
there is
did.
a God.
I have experienced that, seeing my favorite team play at their home stadium as well, back in 2023 November.
Who who's your favorite team then, Sal?
My favorite sports team that I root for, above all else, is the Green Bay Packers.
You're breaking my heart. I'm glad we were friends first, brother. That's
Yeah, my first time at Lambeau was magical.
yeah.
I did see them play the Dallas Cowboys, which is my mom and my whole family. That's their team growing up, was the Dallas Cowboys, and I went to see them play at Lambeau, Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers, on Veterans Day in 2023,
That's amazing.
and it was awesome. You know, um, it was outstanding, and like I said, everybody, all emotions welcome. If you're a Bears fan, you're right by me. Um,
I'm smiling. I took my son to Lambeau this year when they lost, and I couldn't agree more. Lambeau is a cathedral. The fans were lovely. I was not a normal Bears fan. I was quiet, and meaning I wasn't chirping the whole game because I was a little worried. But you're right. Lambeau is, oh my gosh, it's so special. It's amazing.
Yeah. Is that your first time going?
Yeah, first time to Lambeau. Yeah, just blown away. Absolutely blown away. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good space. And you think of like that Midwest charm, that Midwest hospitality, like that is unrivaled in the United States. Like that's a culture of uh that is worth studying, if you will. Like,
yeah. Yeah, there's something to it's around hospitality, I believe, Sal. I mean, the fans were they're giving me cheese curds, Packer fans, and it was like, oh my gosh, like if you haven't had cheese curds, like there's something wrong with you. You need to eat them because they're amazing. But yeah, there's something tied to that. Yeah, I think you could teach classes on Midwestern hospitality or food, you name it.
yeah. Oh man. um Sports, food,
Yeah.
culture.
What you brought up
It's
some
such a
earlier, Sal, I want to touch on, and we talked about it earlier. And I know this to be true. You had mentioned having dinner with some of your buddies. This is an ongoing thing you do, right? Like,
Mhm.
are they college buddies, like adult buddies, grade school buddies, or just buddies you've accumulated?
The buddies I've accumulated is probably the best way to describe it.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't go to traditional college. I did go, like I mentioned earlier, I went to the Culinary Institute of America. Um, and so when we kind of met, like I met my great friend Sam, who I lived with for a number of years. I met Sam first, and we all had similar individuals that we all had. I call it like-minded individuals. We were all kind of like in the same space, in our mid 20s, and we kind of have just kind of grown up together. And we have traveled a lot together. Um, and we're big advocates for men's mental health. I think that
Ah,
you know men need community as well, and that comes out in different things. Like if you like to go play golf, or this or that, and whatever brings you joy, like that's great. My guy friends and I, we get together. Some of us ski. The conditions in Colorado right now aren't like super awesome, so I snowboard. I did not ride with them this past weekend, but I did cook. I cooked 3 meals, and a couple friends went snowshoeing, and a couple went skiing, and you know we played a little poker. We watched some movies, and we read books, and we drank coffee, and we talked, and it was awesome. And I recommend that for everyone. Not just you know for males. I think getting out and hanging with your circle is so important. You know, we all kind of worked a little bit on Friday morning, uh, and it was great because we were working in a house, in our sweatpants and our hoodies, and our phones weren't really anywhere to be found. And at the end of the day, you know, we were like, man, we felt so productive, and everything. Friday was like such an awesome day, and my buddy was like, I didn't see a single phone for hours.
ah,
And like that's kind of what it's about, is kind of resetting. But we do travel. Our next one is going to be Vegas in early May, and then we are trying to do an East Coast trip in October. So I haven't been fully back to the East Coast in a long time, since I moved back to Colorado in 2009. So
it, you touch on an important piece, and I know this having talked like around the men's mental health, and um, I don't want to say it's an epidemic or doom and gloom, but like I also believe, and I'm interested in your take, that some men are searching for that, like that community or that place, and and to your point, it doesn't. it could be unique to men, but I still believe there are men out there going, gosh, I wish I had a men's group where I could do exactly what you're talking about, like fellowship and hanging out and just being who you are. Is that
Yeah.
yeah.
Fellowship's a good word because we watched The Lord of the Rings
Nice.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's a good word, really well timed. And doom and gloom it's appropriate now because like men do have the highest rate of suicide out of any gender. That's the numbers are there. And we don't need to get into the whys because I think it's different for everyone. And like, I don't know the why, to be honest. I don't, but I know the numbers and the numbers don't lie. But I also know like we're conditioned to endure and, you know, to put on a face and to keep going and to not show emotions and, you know, and I'm here to tell you, like, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, you can be, you know, as fierce as a lion and, you know, as soft as a flower, like both can coexist and like, it's okay. You know, and I'm here to tell you, like, it's okay to be, you know, vulnerable. It's okay, you know, to unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, you know, it's okay, you know, and for anybody out there listening, like I'm here for you. You know, I'm in the process of becoming an ambassador for the Burnt Chef Project. And it's a program and a project centered around the stigma of mental health and hospitality in the food industry. And, you know, there's a lot of things going on crazy in the world right now. And like, it fucking sucks, pardon my French. And I'm not a fan of it. But in our industry as well, like these things like happen almost every 3 or 6 months where, you know, a chef takes their life. And, you know, I think being part of the service industry is something, and we got to stick together and we got to be there for one another. So if you know somebody that needs a phone call, call them. Like, hey, you got time for a call? Like text is easy. You know, you can send a text and you know, oh, they'll reach back out to me. But if you call somebody, you know, and you leave a message, you know, hey, I was thinking about you and I had this awesome bite of food, or I watched this thing come up on my feed and it reminded me of you. And I love that time you told a story about this thing. Let's just chat real quick. And I'd love to hear more about that story. Like that kind of conversation, that's like a little unavoidable. You're pulling them in now, you know? But I do feel like the text can be a little bit hands off, you know, but pick up the phone, go old school, call somebody, leave a voicemail, you know, if their voicemail is full, which is pretty common these days, you know, try again.
Right. I'm going to be persistent. By the way, my colleague Taryn just said, "Exist in your multitudes," which I love that phrase. So great job, Taryn.
Yeah, rock star. Talk about a rock star right there.
Right? Yeah. Now Taryn's, oh boy, she's special. She's amazing. Talk a little bit more about Burnt Chef for people that don't know. I'm familiar with Burnt Chef. A lot of people in our industry are, but could you talk a little bit about that, because it's worth talking about, let's say.
Yeah, so the Burnt Chef Project is see if I can nail this. I've been doing my homework. The Burnt Chef Project is a global nonprofit social network, you know, founded in like 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, to provide mental health support, educational materials and resources to the hospitality industry. There's an enormous amount of burnout and stigma in our industry. And so what the Burnt Chef Project is, it offers like 24/7 counseling and industry focused tools for all workers, from kitchens to front of the house to food programs, It's not just for chefs or for front of the house. It's for all food service professionals, because if you're like me, you know, you started in the industry, probably washing dishes. If you were back of the house forward, or busting tables if you're front of the house forward, and you work your way up, and it is a grind, and the grind does not stop. And some of that that callus, you build that callus, it doesn't leave you.
Uh,
So the Burnt Chef project is aimed to burn away that stigma surrounding mental health in the hospitality industry, and I think that's why I love it. And I've been drawn to it for a couple years, but recently I was like, you know what, I feel like I would be a great ambassador. I want to reach out. I want to try to become one. I am not one yet. I am in the process, and hopefully all goes well. But you know, again, what could go right?
you're right there. Amen. I love it. It's mindset. Well, and you brought up something, Sal, that I'm struck by. Like, it becomes a stigma when you don't talk about it. Like,
Yeah,
when it's in the shadows, and like Stephanie said, it's like being present is so important. It's like when you talk about it, like it's out in the open, and then like what can go right? Like, how can we navigate what's happening in life? And I'm hearing Burnt Chef is doing exactly that. It's like I've
yeah.
heard that, yeah, like you never know what somebody's story is coming when they're meeting you. You don't know what the day they had or what trauma they had in their childhood, or you name it. So it's like you just bring it out of the shadows.
I think a lot of people get into the industry because it's like the last place, for like the pirates and the refugees of the world. And I can't verbatim remember the exact Anthony Bourdain quote out of Kitchen Confidential, but um, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about,
We
and
do.
we're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, for sure. Sal, I just love hearing, and we've been talking about it, but keep leaning in with your friends like you do. I have by the way, I have a group of like 9 men that I've known since actually grade school. That we do the exact same thing, a yearly trip, and it makes me better when I see these guys, and they're all knuckleheads and all successful in different walks of life, but we just navigate. And sure, we drink beer and fish, but we also just talk and have fellowship, and it's so important. It's made me just better all around having that. So not to speak for you, but if men are looking for friends, Sal and I will be your friend. We absolutely will, we'll hang out with you and you know do
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's a community over everything, man.
Yeah.
Better together, and they might sound whatever, but it works. It works for me, and so hopefully it will work for you.
Yeah, I love it. So Sal, I'm going to offer it. Any more questions for me? Because I love being surprised, by the way.
Yeah. As we started talking about this podcast, it's still relatively, new. It sounds like you're picking
Yeah.
up, some momentum. Where do you see it going in the next, like, let's just say, like 2 years? Like, are you trying to have a podcast a month, or quarterly, or what's that look like? What does this look like long term for you?
Yeah. So like I'll start with that's a great question, by the way, Sal. I'll start with the aspirational for me. My aspiration, and I'm reading a Course in Miracles, so I'm going to say it as though it's happening right now, because it is. So I'm putting the words into it is the truth right now. Um, I want it to be a force for change, positive change, good change. Like I want it to be aspirationally a safe place, a place of love and communication and support. Um, from a tactical standpoint, I want it to be the most successful podcast, and not only in food service, um, anywhere in the world. I'm saying it right now. Now my ego's like, oh, dude, they're gonna figure out you went to a state school with a social work degree. You'll never make that. But thank you, ego. I'm setting that aside. This is my self talk, by the way, Sal. No, I'm putting it out there. I actually wrote it on my whiteboard in my office that said exactly that. It's the most successful podcast, and not for me per se. Like this isn't a box check that I get notoriety. It's for me. It is how can I leave its legacy, its impact, its love. Like I want that. I want to continue to shine that. Um, and I want to continue to have like super cool guests like you. And Vivro has just been so incredible. Like, um, they don't regulate who I invite on. I'm like, this person's super cool. I want in. They have an awesome story, and they're like, great, go for it. Which I so appreciate. So I want to have the most successful podcast with the most interesting guests, and making positive change throughout. How was
Heck
that?
yeah.
Is that have a good answer?
Yeah. It's, the best possible answer. It's from the heart. It was genuine, uh, unscripted, unfiltered, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Our girl Jenna, Madam President, just said, "Take it to the moon. Good to see you guys, unfiltered as always." So, I know we both care about Jenna. She's a good egg.
Texted her last night, Yeah. I'm a big believer in winging it,
Yeah,
Uh, big believer that you're never going to find um, the perfect city travel experience, the perfect meal without, this constant willingness to experience a bad one, So letting these happy accidents happen is what it's all about. And I think I'm always trying to push people to allow those things to happen rather than to stick to some rigid itinerary, you know.
and you said that was a Bob Ross ism, correct?
The
Happy
happy
accidents.
accident, the happy accident is for sure, you know. Um happy accidents, man. So
I just love that. That gives you the freedom to, like, as he said, just experience, be present in the now, and like, gosh, what's next? Why not? Like, oh my gosh, how exciting is that?
yeah, man, this has been like a breath of fresh air. It really has. I know we talked a little bit about it, last week and a little bit this week.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, I had zero expectations coming into it. And I was texting another one of our fellow SHFM members, like colleagues, and I'm just gonna go for it, man. I want to,
Yeah.
I just want to do cool things with cool people.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's this old quote, my life is dope, and I do dope shit. And I feel like this was the best place to drop that, you know. So
Well, Sal, I have a punk rock ethos. So yeah, like it's perfect. Yeah, and it's a perfect segue. And oh, Sal, yeah, I'm glad our I guess our silos connected. Like, always knew of you, but now get like, yeah, this time talking has been like super special. I know you're not looking for it, but like, way to go, leaning into mental health and leading by example and leading with love. Keep doing that. The world needs more of it. So I'm encouraging you as a friend. I see you. Continue to do that, because it really does matter. It impacted me. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta shoot. I gotta keep my stuff together because Sal's doing it. That means I want to continue to do it. So you help me, man.
yeah, it's the best part about it is, and thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
Is I'm just winging it,
Yeah.
you know. I'm just trying to do what feels right and treat people with kindness and not lead people on and you know not be disingenuous and not you know just be a good person.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, and I think we need more of that. And you know, um, you'll find out all the great things in life, and um, this world has to offer when lead with grace and you lead with empathy and um, you know love yourself.
Yeah. Amen. Well said, brother. I think that's a perfect way to put the what do you do when you put a plate out? The garnish. Like that's a perfect garnish as you're going out to call this podcast a day. Sal, I want to thank you again for being you, showing who you are to people. Personally, it impacted me in such a positive way, and I know it did others. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Like it was again such an honor to be here, and I encourage others to take that leap and do the same.
Yep, I love it. All right, brother. I will catch you on the flip side. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds great. I like your band T-shirt, by the way.
Thank you. It is IRS, by the way. This is the first label for REM, one of my favorite bands. So that was my shirt today. My son picked it out. I had that Guster No FX, and he said I like the IRS shirt. So that's what we rocked out.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, brother. Be good. I will chat with you soon.
Yep. All love. Thank you so much.
Yep. You too, brother.
Bye.